If you're going through hell, keep going. A good speech should be like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the subject and short enough to create interest. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. A lady came up to me one day and said, "Sir, you are drunk." To which I replied, "I am drunk today, madam, and tomorrow I shall be sober, but you will still be ugly." The story of the human race is war. Except for brief and precarious interludes, there has never been peace in the world, and before history began, murderous strife was universal and unending. If you were my husband, I would put poison in your tea. The era of procrastination, of half measures, of soothing and baffling expedients, of delays, is coming to its close. In its place, we are entering a period of consequences. I am fond of pigs. Dogs look up to us, cats look down on us, pigs treat us as equals. The greatest lesson in life is to know that even fools are right sometimes. The price of greatness is responsibility. Don't interrupt me while I'm interrupting. Everyone is in favor of free speech. Hardly a day passes without its being extolled, but some people's idea of it is that they are free to say what they like. But if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. I believe we shall make them rue the day they try to invade our island. No such discussion can be permitted. Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip. A diplomat is a person who can tell you to go to hell in such a way that you actually look forward to the trip. Diplomat, one who can tell you to go to Hades and make you look forward to the trip. Nothing in life is so exhilarating as to be shot at without result. Never give in, never, 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 in nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. An appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. This is a war of the unknown warrior. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word. It is victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival. If you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit the point once, then come back and hit it again, then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. Now this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is, perhaps, the end of the beginning. Occasionally he stumbled over the truth, but hastily picked himself up and hurried on as if nothing had happened. It is a mistake to look too far ahead. Only one link in the chain of destiny can be handled at a time. I cannot forecast to you the action of Russia. It is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. I cannot pretend to feel impartial about the colors. I rejoice with the brilliant ones and am genuinely sorry for the poor browns. Do not let spacious plans for a new world divert your energies from saving what is left of the old. My conclusion on free will and predestination, they are identical. We have always found the Irish a bit odd. They refuse to be English. Of course I'm an egoist. Where do you get if you aren't? Jellicoe was the only man on either side who could lose the war in an afternoon. Hence, we will not say that Greeks fight like heroes, but that heroes fight like Greeks. I think a curse should rest on me because I love this war. I know it's smashing and shattering the lives of thousands every moment. And yet, I can't help it. I enjoy every second of it. Governments create nothing and have nothing to give but what they have first taken away. You may put money in the pockets of one set of Englishmen, but it will be money taken from the pockets of another set of Englishmen, and the greater part will be spilled on the way. Every vote given for protection is a vote to give governments the right of robbing Peter to pay Paul and charging the public a handsome commission on the job. Courage is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. You have enemies. Good. That means you've stood up for something, some time in your life. My tastes are simple. I am easily satisfied with the best. History will be kind to me, for I intend to write it. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Never, never, never give in. It's not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we have to do what's required. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. For myself, I am an optimist. It does not seem to be much use to be anything else. A fanatic is one who can't change his mind and won't change the subject. Continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking and using our potential. He has all the virtues I dislike and none of the vices I admire. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. To improve is to change, so to be perfect is to have changed often. We are all worms, but I do believe I'm a glowworm. We are masters of the unsaid words, but slaves of those we let slip out. Unless Germany is beaten in a manner which leaves no room for doubt or dispute, unless she is convinced by the terrible logic of events that the glory of her people can never be achieved by violent means, unless her war-making capacity after the war is sensibly diminished, a renewal of the conflict after an uneasy and malevolent truce seems unavoidable. What is the use of living if it be not to strive for noble causes and to make this muddled world a better place for those who will live in it after we are gone? The salvation of the common people of every race and of every land from war or servitude. The new fire is laid, but the particular kind of match is missing. It is an extraordinary event, a monstrous event, an event which stands in singular and sinister isolation. From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. How many wars have been averted by patience and persisting goodwill? Mr. Gandhi has gone very high in my esteem since he stood up for the untouchables. You see these dictators on their pedestals, surrounded by the bayonets of their soldiers and the truncheons of their police. The mood and temper of the public in regard to the treatment of crime and criminals is one of the most unfailing tests of the civilization of any country. What kind of a people do they think we are? Is it possible They do not realize that we shall never cease to persevere against them until they have been taught a lesson which they and the world will never forget. Enterprises must be prepared with specially trained troops of the hunter class who can develop a reign of terror down these coasts, first of all on the butcher and bolt policy. The power of the executive to cast a man in prison without formulating any charge known to the law, and particularly to deny him the judgment of his peers, is in the highest degree odious and is the foundation of all totalitarian government, whether Nazi or communist. It is easy for an individual to move through those insensible gradations from left to right, but the act of crossing the floor is one which requires serious attention. I am well informed on this matter, for I have accomplished that difficult process not only once, but twice. I do not agree that the dog in a manga has the final right to the manga, even though he may have lain there for a very long time. I do not admit that right. We shall not fail or falter. We shall not weaken or tire. Neither the sudden shock of battle nor the long-drawn trials of vigilance and exertion will wear us down. Give us the tools, and we will finish the job. Sure I am of this, that you have only to endure to conquer. If the result is inconclusive, the conflict will be renewed after an uneasy interval. People say we ought not to allow ourselves to be drawn into a theoretical antagonism between Nazism and democracy, but the antagonism is here now. The true characteristic of all British strategy lies in the use of amphibious power. But we have our own dream and our own task. We are with Europe, but not of it. We are linked, but not comprised. We are interested and associated, but not absorbed. They are afraid of words and thoughts, words spoken abroad, thoughts stirring at home, all the more powerful because forbidden, terrify them. A little mouse of thought appears in the room, and even the mightiest potentates are thrown into panic. They make frantic efforts to bar our thoughts and words. They are afraid of the workings of the human mind. This was one of the heaviest blows I can recall during the war. It was a bitter moment. Defeat is one thing, disgrace is another. Never, never, never believe any war will be smooth and easy, or that anyone who embarks on the strange voyage can measure the tides and hurricanes he will encounter. The statesman who yields to war fever must realize that once the signal is given, he is no longer the master of policy, but the slave of unforeseeable and uncontrollable events. The first lesson that you must learn is that when I call for statistics about the rate of infant mortality, what I want is proof that fewer babies died when I was Prime Minister than when anyone else was Prime Minister. That is a political statistic. The mechanical danger must be overcome by a mechanical remedy.